Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a bright young entrepreneur whose business is always on the rise. She's become an international expert on sourdough bread. You'll meet the CEO, founder of Leaf and Loaf next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, this show comes with a disclaimer. If you haven't eaten yet, this show is going to make you hungry, desperately hungry for sourdough bread. And that's because we're going to be talking to an international expert in sourdough bread, and she teaches other people how to do it right. And I can't think of a better guest to introduce you to, because she's going to bring back all kinds of childhood memories for you and your mom or grandma in the kitchen. Maria Baradell is in the studio. She's the owner and founder of Leaf and Loaf. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So you baked as a little girl with your mom.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So my mom was a biology teacher, and she used to tell me a lot about how plants work and they turn the light into energy, and how the yeast works and turns that fresh flour into, all those bubbles that make the bread rise and other things. And she really enjoyed the kitchen, so we spent a lot of time together in the kitchen.
And you didn't set out to become an influencer, but you have become an influencer.
Yes.
So when did the baking of the sourdough bread thing happen for you?
It just started in January of 2024, and that's when I decided that I wanted to learn how to make sourdough bread for my family. And they ate it that same evening, so I had to make more, and so I just kept making more and more and practicing a lot. And then I started gifting it to my neighbors, and they really loved it. So they asked me if they could buy some.
And her videos are going viral because you have, between all your platforms, you have just tens and tens of thousands of fans. We're going to show a little video. This came from your YouTube channel because you're actually doing kind of a demonstration. So why don't you narrate this? What are we watching?
Yes, so one of the things that you look in bread is to get an ear. And it's just one of those things that is really not that important, but a lot of bakers want it because it looks really nice. So I'm telling people how they can achieve that. So how they can score their bread. Right here I'm doing what we call a decorative, a decorative score, and then we go in and make a deeper cut, and that's really what's going to give you the ear. And so when you make it in that angle, that's what's going to create that beautiful ear on the bread.
Well, and when did you start putting these videos out there? You started the company in January. When did you start showing people how to do it?
Yeah, in March, some of my customers wanted to tag me because they will get the bread and they wanted to tell other people how good it was. So they didn't know where to tag. And so I created this Instagram account and I started posting about the breads I was making. But then other bakers started following me because they really liked the way I baked the bread, which was different.
Well, and one of the things I love about it is this is all organic. It's not like you bought followers. This is all just people actually seeing, wow, she's got a cool thing. She's doing it differently. We're going to pull up your Instagram page, and I want to scroll down the Instagram page because I warned you this is going to make you hungry. Just, getting the right temperature. I mean, even the weather can play a role, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the temperature, the humidity, the type of yeast that is in your environment, in your home, and the lactic acid bacteria that can be found in your home is going to make the bread you make totally different to the bread that some other baker will make.
And when people think about sourdough bread, they kind of think of the basic sourdough bread, but you also show off these kind of fancy recipes. Let's pull up this video, and this is a cinnamon sugar apple recipe.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us more about this one.
Yeah, so this one is a tricky one because a lot of times when you're making cinnamon sugar apple, the sugar will ooze out of the loaf.
Yes.
So you have to make sure that the dough is laminated, like in that rectangle shape, but not too thin, and make sure that you act quickly because the sugar is going to break down the gluten network. So you have to be quick and gentle to make sure that you don't tear the gluten.
Let's talk about the ingredients, because ingredients matter.
Yes.
Right. So when you go shopping, are you going to like a Whole Foods or something, or how do you source your ingredients?
Yeah. So I buy the flour actually at Costco.
Mm-hmm.
It's the organic all-purpose flour, and that way it's perfect for bread. It's fine. Usually you want some bread flour that has a higher protein content, but this all-purpose organic flour is great and works fine, and that way I can offer organic breads to my customers. And yeah, a lot of my ingredients come from there, but the start of the show is the starter, the sourdough starter, which is a mix of water and flour that is fermented.
Well, one of the things that we talked about off the top of the show is childhood memories, because I remember my mom she wouldn't bake bread, but she would bake like chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
And so I remember that smell of coming down, and so you're bringing families together, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. So one of my favorite things about having this business is that my kids, I get to do this at home, and my kids get to smell what I'm doing and see me doing it, and it really just warms up our home. But I also love the idea of bringing bread back and blessing our communities with fresh bread that is gut healthy. So I'm really happy about that. Like, it's not just the way I'm blessing my family, but also blessing our communities and also teaching other bakers how they can do the same.
Wow, I am so inspired by you, and I know there are endless opportunities for partnerships. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. One of the very fun partnerships that I have coming up is with Temu, which I really love working with them because from the very beginning of my business, of my bakery journey, I bought some of their products to use when I was making my bread. And so now that I'm working with them, I get to share those with other bakers who are not aware that they can get a really good deal on really great items they can buy from their app.
Outstanding. Okay, so we want to give people a chance to come alongside you. So we're going to pull up this one page because you have all kinds of offerings. Why don't you go through, how can people engage you? Tell us about your shopping cart.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to my Instagram account, you can click on the link and go to this page. And there you can see how to launch, run, and market a home bakery. That's my main ebook, where I use all of my background in marketing to teach you how you can grow your own your own bakery. And then I'm also teaching people how to make sourdough bread from scratch on my Sourdough for Beginners ebook. And I'm also sharing some of the links to the tools that I use for baking.
And your ebook sales have just taken off, haven't they?
Yes.
And
yeah.
Are you just so blessed? I mean, you think about this journey that you started is just relatively new. I mean, how many people can say they have that many followers in such a short time?
Yeah, I really love that I get to teach other bakers. So it's not just about me growing my business, but I feel like together we rise. And if I help other bakers do the same, then all together we are going to increase the demand of sourdough bread, and so that there is enough for all of us to thrive.
Wow. Together We Rise. That sounds like the name of a podcast.
Yes.
Stay
absolutely.
tuned. All right, we're going to end with your Instagram page so people can connect with you, and that's how they can get to your shopping cart. The great Maria Baradell. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.